No, words are one of my favorite things in the world. I love words. And so when I'm with you, I want to be very succinct. So when you see me look over, it's just so that I maximize our time. Marita, I'm loving this hair. So I want you to put in the chat where you are participating from. Where are you participating from? Lorna, I'd love to see your face. Lynette, Olga, all of you that I am seeing your face, that's great. Tanya, let's see. Oh man, yes, stay with us. So, but tell us where you are, Tanya. Oh, New Mexico. Okay, great. Kansas City, Madison, Connecticut, Houston, Texas. All right, calling a guest. Lorna is at cause that she's going to share the Diva movement, Texas, Florida, Kansas City, Joshua Tree. Wonderful. Nita, hi, nice to see your face. All right, Lorna. All right. All right. So put in the Nigeria, promises in Nigeria, Milwaukee, Hawa is where? Put it in the chat, Hawa. Let everyone know. Let everyone know. All right. Awesome. So how many of you have heard of Napoleon Hill? Yeah. How many of you have been impacted greatly by Napoleon Hill? All right. Yeah, so definitely some of you know the origin story for me. I'm not going to go way back, but what I will tell you is Napoleon Hill stays in this kind of ecosystem. I'm not sure where the feedback's coming from, but everyone else is muted. So it's almost like it's me, right? No. Oh, okay. Pennsylvania. All right, Hawa, what are you doing there? Type it in the chat. That's amazing. And Geraldine, nice to see you. Andrea, nice to see you. So everyone has their origin story. What I will tell you about mine is that I was in my early 20s working in a nightclub, already super Napoleon Hill crazed, or no, self-development crazed. I read Think and Grow Rich. I decided that I would write down. Does anyone remember the moment that they first started writing down? Nita's nodding. So I started writing down, and I always did more than I was asked to. I told you I love words. I filled a whole notebook and I wrote down that one of the things I wanted to do was to interview successful people. One of the many things, because why? Because I saw Napoleon Hill was doing that. And at that time, Jimmy, you may remember people used to say, if your mentor eats Wheaties, then you should eat Wheaties, right? So I was like, if Napoleon Hill's my mentor, he's interviewing people, I probably thought it in that Southern accent. If he's my mentor, well, and so I wrote that down and shouted it out loud among other things. And not many people knew that no one knew what I was shouting. And someone called me, introduced me to someone for an interview. I ended up interviewing successful people every day, all day, as a producer for Pat Summerall Productions on the Discovery Channel. And that happened in a matter of about 3 months. And so Napoleon Hill is not only an OG of the industry, right? But that is a major life story. And when your life shifts like that, right, there's an emotional anchor there. And so I can't wait to hear your own stories. But because of that, at different times, you'll see us do collaborations at the Diva Network with the Napoleon Hill Foundation or the Institute or the movie or the, different groups. Or you'll hear me teach something around that. So I thought actually JKN thought it would be pretty fun. She's the one who decided today it would be great for me to speak about to teach from Think and Grow Connected. So Think and Grow Connected. So we're going to talk connection, but through the lens of Napoleon Hill principles, right? And there are so many places we could go with that. So when I say that at first, those Napoleon Hill fans, go ahead and put in the chat what comes up for you. What do you think I'm going to talk about? Go ahead, put it in the chat. I'm going to wait for at least a few. There are some big words he used sometimes and is the origin of. Oh, you guys look so good. I love these founders' backgrounds. I feel so connected to you. Think and grow connected. What do you think I'm going to talk about? Knowing what you know about Napoleon Hill. And we got some pros in here. We have some certified coaches. Let's see, whatever the mind can achieve it, mastermind, manifesting big connections. Wonderful. So some people didn't know that mastermind originally was Napoleon Hill is the first one that really put marketing around that. And a mastermind is when a couple of minds come together and it creates this other mind. So when you and I are in a room together and we're talking, there's your mind, my mind, but then there's this other force that enters the room called a mastermind. That's that principle. And then there are certain ways to amplify the mastermind. Definitely really great in connection. So let's first talk about, and I just want to add in, I did end up being one of the first ever Napoleon Hill certified leaders. So in case, I know there are a lot of Napoleon Hill people here, and we have our own stories and own examples, but whenever I'm teaching, I want you to know where that's coming from, right? And what it's grounded in. Just like your people want to know, why are you into what you're into, or why are you speaking from this place? So the book that I have is so old, and that they don't even give it out in certifications anymore. But I have notes in that book where I wrote about things that we have since done, like the Think and Grow Rich tour that, or the Psychology of Winning tour that had Brian Tracy and Bob Proctor and all these different gurus. I didn't even remember that I'd written about it. So Napoleon Hill is definitely worth diving into, and we love him around here. So the first thing I want to talk about is Oprah. Whether you love her or not, can we all agree that she has had iconic success? Yes. Yes. So you can nod, you can heart, we participate here. Yes, Nita, thank you. I love that fast action participation. You're always going to get more out of participating as well. Like your own brain will start to hit centers going, this is important. I'm involved. I'm engaged. You love the synchronicity. You're rereading Think and Grow Rich in your mastermind group. Karen, I love that. Okay. So Oprah, before she was known as Oprah, was a reporter that, guess what? A lot of people, colleagues, professionals told her, you're too emotional. You're not polished enough for real news. You're not going to make it. You don't have what it takes in our industry. And thank goodness she started to believe some of that. That's what how the story goes. Thank goodness somebody else invited her to come start a local show. And I want you, that's a first clue right there. Someone invited her to their platform that said, hey, I see something enough that I want you to have a show here. And then they told her, you know what? You have a gift for connection. And this is not going to be what takes you backwards. It's going to be what unlocks who you actually already are. Ratings started going up, and it wasn't too long after that she had the Oprah Winfrey Show. So what happened there is she was in a circle of people that she had to work so hard to become a reporter in the first place, right? In the 80s, the timing, she had to do so much just to gain the ground that she did. I want you to remember that wasn't the time of Kim Kardashian and J-Lo bodies and all of that either. This was a time of Thigh Master rules everything. Slim and thin is, snack wells. Do you remember? Fat free. We can eat all the gummy worms we want, but we cannot be, so it was a different time. So she had already worked to gain certain ground. And now she was at this level and she had peers and inner circle. But guess what? That wasn't her final destination. But if she had stayed at that level, listening to where she had worked her way into her current circle of influence, Oprah and many of the things we've come to know and love wouldn't have ever existed. Even if you don't love Oprah, which I was greatly impacted by her and her story, and I'm inspired by her success. What changed was her circle. So someone saw her gift, and she chose to engage and participate, right? She got an invitation. There were a lot of voices. She chose to listen to a voice that believed in her and accepted her. And so she became surrounded with a network. If they had to believe in her to offer her a show, right? To a certain level. And then there was a producer that not only believed in her ability, but the gift inside of her, and that unlocked. So that's one reason and key to having success in your life is the circle of influence around you, right? There's a circle and also knowing that where you want to go next may require a new circle, and it often does. And when I say that, I don't mean that you get rid of people necessarily, right? I still have the same 3 best friends that I've had for over 20 years. And I've added new friends and I've added new people to my circle. Sometimes it does mean there are people that will not fit anymore, like the ones who say, you're too emotional, too much. You can't do it. If it's your mom, you got to pray about it. You got to go through transformational work, but to go to the next level of your vision. And remember, she already worked to a certain profound, amazing dream position that anyone would have said, wow, well done. Look what you've already accomplished, right? But now to go to the level that was 100,000 times greater than that container she had worked so hard to gain, she had to invite in and be surrounded by a new circle. So no matter how great life already is, give it up. We've got great lives. We have a lot to be thankful for. Yep, I got you, you got me. We've had breakthroughs, right? But there's another level. We're not done, right? I know you're not done because I know the kind of people that we call in, not just we as a group. And it's driven, inspiring, visionary, authentic leaders, sisters, and the men who support them. And so we're not done. Even when we're done, we're like, now, how do I solve their problem? Right? So there is no done for people like us, right? So that circle is so important. And when you're thinking of your new circle, we're going to ground in a Napoleon Hill principle. Start with your chief aim. We need to start with your chief aim. So what does that mean? Write it in the chat. You can put a word, what comes up when you think start with your chief aim? There is one quality which one must possess to win, and that is definiteness of purpose. Napoleon Hill, healthy, abundance, vision, wealth, purpose. Napoleon Hill had you start with a purpose. And we see that everywhere. It doesn't matter if you go back to the Bible, without a vision, the people perish, right? My Bible babies. Hi, Carissa. You know what with Napoleon Hill, you start with definite purpose. Even in Alice in Wonderland, tell me which way to go. Well, where do you want to get? I don't know. Then it doesn't matter, right? But if you want to elevate your circle, or you want to draw in and create your new power circle or fortify your power circle, then you've got to start with where you want to go. And I'll give you an example right here. Christine was running her dining empire, doing her thing, having her shows, right? I was running the Napoleon Hill. Actually, when I first met her, I was doing Think and Grow Rich event, and we did an in-person event with John Gray and Don Green of the Napoleon Hill Foundation. I met Christine. Hi, Sean Lamb. We decided to do a mastermind together. Hi, Phoenix in St. Lucia. I love when you all come on camera, and I love hair like that. We're in Texas. The bigger the hair, the closer to God. That's how I feel anyway. So I'm teasing. If your hair is not big, it's all good. All right, Lord, I know you're close to God. So what ended up happening is as we started collaborating and having so much fun together and our vision started impacting one another, then we went, all right, let's team up. Circle Fortified. Hi, Dilip. Hi, Ruth. Then, the waves kept going. And now we have all these TV shows and we have the Diva Network, right? I want you to see where we're doing this very directly. The vision was a global movement of women that are sovereign, that are financially, spiritually, physically, emotionally free. And we believe that freedom will come through driven, inspiring, visionary, authentic leaders. So the women and the men who will support them. So with the global vision, which is the what, which is the purpose. Amen, Hawa. That helps set the frame to filter who should be in the power circle. Do you see? Like when you have the vision of where you want to go, I didn't know we wanted to go on blockchain. I didn't know we wanted a president that was a man named Jimmy Azell. And I didn't know we would have King Ali working with us. But that vision created, well, blockchain allows us to go into several hundred countries as fast as we want, right? And with a leader like Jimmy, we have a team like JKN and so many other people that serve behind the scenes here, defined first by the what. This is why your what is more important than who you've been. Your vision for the future doesn't matter who you've been. Remember what they said Oprah was, too emotional, not enough. We don't care about who you've been or even what. I care about who you've been and the ground that you've gained. But in relationship to how you finish this glorious game that we came in to play, it's the vision that determines who your power circle is, right? And so I already shared. Christine, you just came on. Oh, Carissa was on too. Good. So you heard some of that. So then the circle expands, right? And so then what happened? We started going, we want chapters. We want divas everywhere meeting up. And you all start going, yes, in Africa and Vegas and Bali. And we want that, right? So what happened? We found our VP, Alexandra Silva Labar, fortifying our power circle, right? And with a global vision of impact like that, how else have we fortified? You've seen Christine created the partnership with Fubu TV. She attracted Jeff Hoffman, who's on our board of directors and advisors. But do you see how it's the vision that determines who should be in your circle, right? So we want to start with the chief aim. I'm going to hydrate while can you hear my dogs out there? There's not much I can do about that. Some are saying yes, some are saying no. Good. Some of you are like, I don't hear anything. That's good. All right. So once your circle must align with your vision, not your confusion. So write down your precise goal or vision, and this becomes the filter for who belongs in your circle. Make sense? Yes. Yes, it makes sense. All right. 2, apply the mastermind principle. I promised this would be grounded in Napoleon Hill principles today. I'm going to throw in a bonus. Oprah didn't just get in the circle. She applied faith in what she was hearing and what was inside of her, right? So she didn't just sit around. She had to apply and hook into that vision and go for it. But number 2, once you have your circle, you've got to apply the mastermind principle. So no two minds ever come together without creating a third invisible, intangible force. That's the value of getting together, right? When you get together, you get this other mind. And it's like Christine's mind with my mind, Lorna's mind with my mind, Jimmy's mind. And as you're meeting, Nita, as we're in this circle, there is a masterminding happening right now. And in a way, at least a group think. Now, Mastermind Alliance is something different. right? That's when you go to work. But even right now, we're masterminding and sharing our energy, our synergy. When you put things in the chat, you're giving back into the mind energetically. So don't just gather support, gather synergy. This is why you want to be mindful. Yes, Lorna, let's pause for that, right? You want to be mindful of people that you have synergy with, that are about harmony, that are about collaboration. It's an energy, right? Because that's going to impact the quality of your life. It's going to impact how you feel about your life each day, right, Nita? That's right. That's right. So we gather synergy. So the action is build your circle with people who bring unique insight, belief, and strategic contribution. And I know I started with Napoleon Hill and the story of Christine and I and our collaboration. So I'm going to bring it back to that, because how many of you have been in self-development for a while? Raise your hand. Oh yeah, all my people, all my people. I love people like you, because you're growth minded, right? And so one of the things that you learn is, if you want to go somewhere that you haven't been yet, get around people who've already been there and done that, right? Have you heard that? Some version of that. And do you believe that? I do too. That's why we're here. But I'm going to tell you, when Christine and I got together, it was a disruption of that. Because guess what? Even though we had I'd been in media in the past, I'd been in and done different things like that. She had been living a lot of the principles. We were in two totally different industries. And Christine's stand was for entrepreneurs, but a food and lifestyle show, food and lifestyle education about the food and the lifestyle and empower. But she wasn't in this deep dive, let's do these self-development workshops. And all the people I was hanging out with, SIPO, were, coaches, authors, writers, speakers, all of that. And so even that can become a bit of a bubble. Do you see? There's a limit there when you're still, so just like Oprah went all the way to her limit of becoming a reporter, right? And doing the right things to get to that place, but then found a limiter. And her limiter was more negative, because it was, you're too much, too noisy, too emotional for reporting. And then boom, she starts hanging out with someone else who tells her, no, this is going to unlock who you actually are. I see you. You're a connection. She moves into a new circle. So even our best rooms of people that are all in the same industry, or all just like you, start to have a limit, right? So that's where synergy and alignment really matter. So we had some core values of sisterhood, right? We had some core values of fun and engagement and empowerment and all of that. So you want to think of, when you're thinking of your power circle and where you want to get next. I wasn't hanging out with the blockchain builders. I didn't know that. I mean, I wasn't signing up for tech conferences, but guess who was? Jimmy. Jimmy was. And Ali was hanging out with Jimmy, and Ali was hanging out with me and Christine, and helped put a connection together. So when you think of strategic connections, I want you to think also who, and in maybe different industries outside of your own. It's one of the things I do love about the Diva Network is we're not all coaches, even though we have a lot of coaches in here, but we have a lot of different business owners, product creators, brick and mortar business owners, so that you can get access to different paths, different ways of thinking, different kinds of collaborations. And it helps create that, mastermind. So with your circle, you want to be thinking of people that bring strategic things that are different than you. You're going to see as you meet and spend more time with Alexandra Labar, our Diva Network VP, she comes from corporate. as her background. She wears suits almost all the time. When I'm like dancing around, sometimes if it's late, she's dancing around, but she's like, interesting, okay. And that is phenomenal. That is phenomenal. Why? Because you want different sides of the brain. You want different expressions to create that whole team, right? And to create the whole package. And so you're so right. You just got off a connect call with the tech guy. Had no idea I would be able to add value to him, and so grateful because I filled a gap for him that he's been trying to fill for a long time. You never know. You never know. So very good. All right. So third, practice applied faith. I brought that in earlier, right? I thought it was an extra. I thought it was a bonus. I wrote it in. So faith is a state of mind that can be induced by auto-suggestion. And there's a story I read. You won't be able to see it right now. Maybe you will. Let me get up and grab it. You can still hear me. I told you guys about this old, let's see if I can get it in front of me right. I told you about this old manual from Napoleon Hill, right? And so I was studying and reading, he wrote in there about teamwork. And he tells this story of when he had this team of salespeople and they were all selling cash registers. And a competition came in and was trying to spread rumors that the business was going down, that they weren't going to do well, the economy was down, and sales were plummeting. And so the guy who ran the company decided to get all his salespeople together, and he says, tell me why the sales are down. And everyone starts talking about how the economy's down, the farmers aren't buying, no one wants to invest in cash registers right now because the competition's moving so fast. The guy pauses and goes, hold on, just give me a moment. I'm gonna have my shoes shined. And he brings up on stage a young kid shining his shoes. He doesn't say a word, pretends the salespeople aren't there. They're looking at him like, what? And Napoleon Hill wrote this so far back. So this is way back. I don't remember the exact year, so I'm not even going to pretend. But they're looking at him getting his shoes shined. And then he asks, tell me about your job. You make a good living? He's like, oh, yeah, I have enough to pay my mom $10 a week. I put $5 away in my bank. I'm saving for a bike, and I have $2 spending money. So that tells you if that's a living, you know how far back it was. But he was like, it's a good living. And he said, well, you took this job from someone else who, tell us about, he was an 18-year-old guy. And everybody in the room knew that guy had a bad attitude, said he couldn't make a living, and that this guy was crushing it. And this guy was 12 years old. So somehow the lesson starts clicking for someone, and a man stands up and said, you know what? I've had the worst attitude. I'm about to go out into the marketplace and I'm going to serve, and then before you know it, the whole place is erupting. That company ends up being the industry leader despite competition, so again, the power of your circle and how you buy into ideas, but also applied faith, right? We choose what the narrative is that we're going to take in. We choose what the stories mean, what the economy means. In the worst economies, millionaires and billionaires are made, right? Because of a choice and a perception. As DMA said, when there is a problem, there is an opportunity for solution. Bob Proctor used to talk about when there's the best CEOs look for bigger problems because they go, oh, this is an opportunity to serve big and to have the cash register, cha-ching, right? Only because we talked about cash registers. So it's all perception and applied faith. And you get this is in the context of the circle of people that you're around and how you hold each other accountable. What stories are you going to buy into? What narrative are you going to believe? So surround yourself with people who amplify your faith, especially when you forget who you are, right? Especially when you forget who you are. That's why one of my closest friends. That's the main value. She all through my life journey, didn't matter, biggest mistakes, but she was a consistent reminder. I see you. You're amazing. You're so full of love. You've got such a big vision. This isn't who you are. Let me tell you who you are. You need people like that in your corner that are going to remind you of who you are and feed your faith. Doesn't mean they're not going to call you out. I have another friend, Jody. She's the call it out queen. She's the one like, nope, I saw that. The other one will hug you, love you up, hold you, feed you. The other one's going to be like, that's not happening. Now they're both kind of, all right. So fourth, use accurate thinking. So separate facts from fiction. So use logic and reasons to make decision. So you need aligned and qualified people. Okay, I want you to listen to this. Some of you are going to have a moment. You need aligned and qualified people, not just familiar ones. You know what I'm talking about if you know what I'm talking about, right? Sometimes familiar is comfortable. And when you're smashing the old identity and stepping into something new and it's uncertain and you didn't do the way you thought, you didn't make the sale, you thought you didn't, the room wasn't as full, what you thought was going to happen, or you don't know what's going to happen next, going back to familiar can be stabilizing, right? So we need to find healthy familiar and keep going for the unknown territory if it's the unknown that God or your highest self has put in your heart, right? Stay the course, get comfortable with the unfamiliar, bring along your favorite blankie, do something else, something else to ground you in. Okay, action. So ask, who multiplies my ideas, who drains my energy, and who holds me to the highest version of myself? Last one, create a spirit of harmony. So power is attained through coordinated effort, but harmony is glue. That's Napoleon Hill. The spirit of harmony. That's why Dr. Andrea and all of us here, right? We like collaboration over competition. Collaboration over competition. That's right. Collaboration and harmony, right? It's not about being right all the time. And for very strong people, we have very strong views of the world and we have lots of reasons. We have those views and we have a whole council of people and we've tested our views. And sometimes when you're playing a big game and you have a super circle around you, guess what? They have all that too. And it's kind of like that elephant analogy I know you've heard, where everybody's blindfolded and they're touching different parts of the elephant and they're describing, what? No, it's more like a garden hose. No, it's like a tree trunk, because they're with different parts of the elephant. So it's going to take something for leaders to work with leaders, right? And to nurture harmony. It's going to take something to work in harmony with the team that serves and works alongside you. It's going to take something to be in harmony with your own children, right? So dissonance strains, harmony scales. Oh, that's a good one. Harmony scales. So the action is to choose those who align with your values, energy, and mission. And I'm going to tell you, I had a big moment with someone that I was doing big things with, and our values did not align. And it wasn't just a one-off, or no one's perfect, right? No one's perfect. It was again and again and again, happy to talk really bad behind other people's backs. And that just is not my jam at all. And I don't enjoy that kind of space. And so even though it was a big deal, I cut that business venture or associations off. And guess what? It was scary at first, but then total peace and harmony, because harmony scales. It's true. You go to bed every night feeling good and not looking over your back, right? You want to be in a place where you have aligned values, energy, and mission. Final takeaway: to build a power circle, Napoleon Hill would tell you be clear about your aim, find your minds and multiply yours, surround yourself with belief, logic, and harmony. This is how you think and grow connected. Yeah. All right, which was really fun. I know a lot when we talk about connection, we go into strategy, and we will, but it always starts with your intention. What are you thinking? Who are you being? Why do you want to create these connections and collaborations? Who needs to be in your power circle? And guess what? You don't even have to know the exact who if you start with that vision, right? That's why the vision is so powerful, because with a powerful vision, I didn't know I would need to be in media more. God kept bringing it and bringing it, and I thought it was a distraction, right? I thought it was a distraction. I need to be about the work of transformation. And then finally, the aha happened, right? And of course, Christine now is a power collaboration, a business partner, a bestie. I didn't know we needed to be on blockchain. I didn't know we needed to accept crypto. So it's the vision that then being clear about that, you don't have to figure out that how. And it also comes along with the who. It's more about alignment. And then if it drops in and it's clear, you'll know it. But there also be open for those synchronistic, unexpected, totally driven by that. Okay, let me take a drink of water. Was that good? Let me see some kind of emojis, chats, if something opened for you. You'll attract the right people at the right time. Nita, I see that you might have sent me a private message and it's way far up, so I didn't get it. So send it again if you were doing that. Awesome. So we're about to go into our networking session. Before we do, I'd love to tell you a little bit about the Diva Network. Is it all right if we take 5 to 7 minutes, tell you about the Diva Network and what the opportunity is here to join our community? I want to talk about, remember, do I have any yeses? I have fire and music, but I don't know if that was before. Yes. Okay, Elise, thank you for a yes. I always need at least one yes. Yes. Okay. So just like Oprah before was surrounded by people who were saying too loud, not enough, too emotional, and then someone invited her to come do a show. Someone saw her gift. Maybe you're not surrounded by people that are just bashing you and not into your vision, right? But someone saw in you something that they decided to invite you here. And the people that, I mean, we invite everyone, but I'm going to tell you the parts of people that we're inviting. We're inviting that divine design. We're inviting the person. So we're speaking to this in you, even if it's an off day and you don't feel all of these, but driven, inspiring, visionary, authentic leaders. And the reason we're inviting you into this sisterhood is because we found that many of us were already living these values in different ways. Like you're the kind of people that you're already have done some work to be the most authentic version. You're already a visionary. You have something that you're driving for. You have a people in mind or an art form in mind or a nonprofit in mind. And you're either birthing that or you're already well along the track, right? And what we found is I shared with you when Christine and I met at that mastermind, we were both succeeding in our own rights. I'd been surrounded by amazing men and women, but a lot of what I had learned and the ways I'd been moving had been brought to me by very successful, amazing men. And I'm so grateful for that. And it opened doors, obviously, lots and lots and lots of doors. I've had an incredible life and love my mentors like Don Green of the Napoleon Hill Foundation or Dennis Whaley or Les Brown or, we could go on and on. But when we got together as women in an environment with other driven women who are usually driving things in their own lane, right? And leading off, we got together and as Lisa Nichols said, took our capes off, what happened was, first of all, outrageous fun. I mean, can we make that okay in business? Outrageous fun. What else happened was phenomenal style. And can we make that okay in business? All right. It was so much fun being in the place of so much beauty and style and fun and creativity. But what started happening is exponential growth, outrageous growth. Dining Empire went from one show to many shows she had been visioning for years, went from being on WeTV to then travel and having destination divas, then multiple shows, Dining Divas New York, California, Texas, and then FUBU TV partnership went from WeTV and Travel Channel to Google, Apple, Prime, and on, and now bringing all these people to do their own TV shows. Every guest who was there, one woman came with her coffee product. Now through the Diva Network, it's buying her own farm. And I say through the network because she found her funding here. She found so many other relationships here. And I could go on and on about how each of us individually were just feeling this overflow. And so what it taught me is that when women get together, we move differently, as Jimmy Azell would say. And so we are a networking group where you will get high-level connections. Ali is going to come up and share with you exactly just the bullets of what you're going to get. But I want to tell you it's more than a networking group. Okay, it took me a long time of business owners who kept going, but what are you? But what are you? But what are you? Fine. We are a networking group at a very high level. We're a mastermind, but we're so much more. We're a movement, because when women get together, what happens, like what happened in this room, an orphanage has 6 more months in Africa that was about to go out of business because of community like Marita and Dan Siege. We have 5 or more people being funded in their vision and their companies. We have businesses that were not doing well, or women that were going solo that now are on hyper speed and still looking fly. So I could go on and on about that, but I'm gonna go ahead and let Ali come up. Ali, are you here?
I am indeed.
All right, we don't see you. We see the magic.
Wait. You like that? You like how I just appeared?
I love that. All right. So give us a few more minutes. Ali is the person that not only connected Christine and I initially, so she could be on our Think and Grow Rich tour. So none of our alignment would have happened without Ali, the men who support us, and strategic partner, podcast leader, Emmy Studios. But he also reconnected me with Jimmy Azell and said, you guys got to check each other out. So truly, we're so grateful to have you here. Ali, go ahead and share.
Thank you. Yeah, one thing that you said that I fell in love with is this is not just a networking, group. And I'm pretty sure, and I will get some heads that will nod if I say this. Would you agree with me? There are a lot of networking groups where there's just nothing but motivation, but not really deliverables, right? Like, all right, it's another group that's pumping me up and making me feel good. But one thing that I will tell you in here, it's all about deliverables, is receiving something that's going to impact me directly and or indirectly, that's going to add value to my life, to my business, or to my mission, whatever that may be. So I want to just share this with you, if I may, just so you, I put something in front of you. A traditional networking group will not actually give you the ability for you to have 7 hours per month worth of actual content that you can use. Pause, apply, pause, apply, pause, apply. Usually we pay a lot of money for that. We call them courses, right? A traditional networking group is not going to connect you with the whole community that we have in school and say, go ahead, network amongst one another. It's hoarding and saying, well, I don't know if I want to include you, introduce you to my network. A traditional networking group is not going to say, hey, I want to give you 10 minutes like a TED Talk style. Go ahead and shine your greatness. Let all of our community see how great you are. It will not be housed in school library for instant exposure, showing all of our community how great you are. See, a traditional networking group is not going to work hard on building your credibility to attract collaborations, to promote you directly and or indirectly. A traditional networking group is not going to say, hey, We want you on our podcast that is right now airing on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Audible.com, Apple Podcasts. And guess what? You will be the highlight speaker. You will be the signature speaker. You will be the shiny object. So when somebody Googles your name, you see those third-party validation platforms promoting you. A traditional networking event is not going to say, hey, we're going to give you discounts on travel. So for those of you who travel to masterminds and go all around the world to all different events and training and sessions for your business or for your education, we're going to drop the cost of that to up to 35%. A traditional networking group is not going to say, hey, we're going to host a special event and take over a resort and it's going to be closed, VIP, luxury, and you have first dibs into having that exclusive and extremely reduced cost of an event. A traditional networking event is not, or group is not going to say, hey, we're going to give you these vacation incentives that are worth $5,000 on peak season. And guess what? You can use it for yourself and travel and take all those amazing videos to market and promote yourself to 3,000 locations around the world. Or you can give them a way to incentivize behavior. To incentivize, if you are on a retainer with me for 90 days in a row, I'll give you a vacation, sir. If you buy my book, I'll give you a vacation, ma'am. If you do business with me in the Diva Network, unlimited vacations if you'd like. A traditional networking group will limit you to come here, get excited, motivate, high five, and hopefully you can figure it out on your own. That is not what we're going to do in here. As a matter of fact, we're taking it even a step higher. We are allowing our founding members to have the ability to be featured in our Diva wallet and directory, where you can list up to 3 offers in our Diva wallet. VIP, free founders, audiences will be able to see how great you are. You talk about the ultimate platform where greatness, credibility, visibility, education, connection meets all in one place. And the best part about this, when we all do the math, because a lot of people's like, well, how much is this going to cost me? What if I said to you, it's $3 a day? Let that sink in for a second. Who here spend money on a latte for $7 or $8, and we spend it every single day for things that shouldn't be in our body? For $3 a day, one time per year, $1,147. That's $1,147. I know some of us spend that on a course that we were like, I read that on a book last week. This and everything that I showed you, plus yours truly, I know, I'm kind of handsome. My wife tells me every single day, I get to feature you, interview you, and put you on the best and the greatest platforms there is. I'd love nothing more but to collaborate with you. So make sure whomever invited you to this platform say, all right, y'all, I'm ready. I want the world to know how great I am, and I want that guy Ali to interview me while we're doing it. Adora, I'll pass it back to you, sis.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Isn't that exciting? I freaking love it because when we're thinking about putting this group together, we're like, how do we take all of the resources that we have and open them to our community? So bring our top who's, bring the visibility, put them on our podcast, put them on our stages. So we're super duper excited. So you definitely want to get back to the person that invited you and sign up. Especially if you want to go deeper in connection and in this offer, this community. We'd love to have you. So what we're going to do now is we're giving some time for you to get to network with each other. So I realize some of you can only be here for an hour. We still have 10 minutes for that, but we have a full, 40 minutes left of breakout rooms, 30 minutes, and some Q&A for the Diva Network. That's to give you a little taste of the community. And also because we believe in the power of collaboration, of proximity, of your power circle. And, you know, when we go deeper into how to create these connections, service, how we serve each other, how we work in harmony, all that jazz. So as you go into these rooms, I want you to be thinking of not only your power circle, you might be someone's power circle next. They might be a part of yours. I want you to think of what can I do for the person that I'm meeting? And then Sheila's going to drop into the chat the questions that we ask during the networking. If you have them ready, Sheila. If not, JKN will drop them in. Basically, you're going to go into a room. You'll have an opportunity to say who you are, what your business is, what you're looking for specifically. So your ask. And then you'll want to share at the very beginning, she's got it in order, how your business or your life has been, like what has impacted your life the most in the past year that for other entrepreneurs will help them. So if a divorce is the answer, if that's the best you got, okay, but it's not going to apply to everybody. So I want you to think about what have you applied in your business that everyone could apply in that room that would be a game changer, right? So that's very quick. There it is. What has recently moved the needle in your business? Tell us a little bit about yourself and your business. What is your ask and your request from the group? And leave time to receive. So JKN's going to take over the mic now to tell you how much time you have and to take over the networking. I hope that I get to see all of you. If you're not a member, get started. It's freaking $3 a day. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. I'm telling you. And if you don't believe me, then go to the person who invited you and they'll tell you to. All right. And I'll see most of you Thursday. All right, JKN, you've got it?
Okay, so you will be sent into groups of 2 or 3 because I know some people are going to fall off. So if you happen to find yourself in a room where the other person cannot participate, come back and I will reassign you. And we're going to do 15 minutes the first round. And we'll stick around until, let's see, it's going to be 12:30 Central, so you can get a couple of rounds of networking in. But I'm pushing the button now. Make sure you join your breakout room. I can't talk. Here we go. Was your room empty?
There was someone in there, but they weren't talking and they weren't participating.
Okay, hold on. Let's put you, This one only has one person.
Hi, the person I was in a room with, I guess, stepped away from their camera.
Janelle.
Janelle, yeah.
Okay, let's move you to, golly gee willikers. Let's do this one. Diliana. Okay, you need to go to another room too. Room 7, that one's not right. Let's do 2.